Well, hi everyone, my name is Ryan Gomendi and I'm part of the Billings and Beyond team here at Faith Chapel, which is our local and global missions ministry. Over the next few minutes, we wanted to give you a chance to look at our upcoming national and global mission trips we are praying and planning for in 2015. We believe Jesus was clear with his church that we are called to go into the world and make disciples. This starts in our backyard and literally goes all the way around the world. And as the American church, we have been incredibly blessed financially, and with that blessing comes a high responsibility and privilege to share the good news of Jesus around this planet of ours. So in the next few minutes, we'll have team members who have visited each country or location share a little bit about their prior trip experience, as well as details for the upcoming trip in 2015.
Hi, I'm Allison.
And I'm Andy, and we'd love to share what Faith Chapel is doing in Haiti.
We're fortunate to continue to have the opportunity to partner with Friends of Haiti, a group from Wisconsin that began semi-annual medical missions in 2001. They provide medical trips to the same villages year after year. Provision from everything from basic health care to minor procedures occurs during our trips, and patients are also evaluated for upcoming intervention for surgical mission trips. Even before the crippling earthquake in 2010, Haiti was considered the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere, with only one nurse and 3 doctors for every 10,000 people. Our opportunity to be the hands and feet of Jesus by providing medical care to the Haitian people is often a reverse mission for us. We're able to learn so much from them and their dependence on God, and are blessed to be utilized as one of the reminders that He's providing for them through our care. During our mission trip last spring, I got to meet Levanson and his family. At first glance, Levanson looked like any other 3-year-old boy and was actually in fairly good health compared to most of the Haitian children. Although this was my 6th trip to Haiti, I was amazed as always to see God's intervening hand in his story that began 6 months earlier.
That was my 2nd trip to the rural mountain village of Monteley. I was heartbroken when I initially met Levanson. He is somewhere between 2 and 3 years old and weighed about 8 pounds. He was completely emaciated and had pneumonia. His mother had recognized that her son needed help and brought him to the clinic at the church. He had stopped eating and he would only nurse for a few seconds at a time, more for comfort than anything, and then fall asleep exhausted from the effort. His mom did not have any milk to give anyway because of her own malnutrition. We tried for a couple of hours to get him to take anything by mouth, but had to place a feeding tube like this one down his nose and into his stomach. The team took turns for the next 2 nights checking on him and giving him 2 teaspoons of formula through the tube every 2 hours. We started him on antibiotics and also cared for his mom and little brother. As we were in a place where cell phones typically do not work, but knowing that this child would die without more intense care, we decided to bring Levanson and his mom down out of the mountains when clinic ended. Coming down off the mountain, we were finally able to get cell phone service, and I was able to talk with our team in Port-au-Prince so that they could start planning to get the child to care. One of our amazing nursing team members knew of an organization that cares for premature, malnourished, or HIV-positive infants that was able to accept Levanson and his mom into care free of charge. We took the baby and mom later that same evening. The next time I saw him in person, 6 months later, I would not have recognized him. Both Levanson and his mom had gotten medical care that they needed. My tears of utter heartbreak and prayers for help turned to tears of joy and prayers full of praise when I saw the chubby-cheeked, smiling little man again this April.
We're looking to form a team of willing healthcare providers and a couple of non-medical support people.
Please pray about joining us on another amazing trip this spring.
A new adventure and calling we are looking at in 2015 is a trip to Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is a location that has touched the heart of our staff and Foursquare denomination. Many of us have watched over the last decades as Detroit has faced incredible setbacks in major industries, creating one of the highest levels of poverty for any town or city in our country. We're working on plans to bring a team in 2015 to inner city Detroit, working with our Foursquare denomination. It will be an incredible experience as we'll be evangelizing our very own country, working in areas where hundreds of countries and ethnicities are represented, many times bringing Hindu, Buddhist, and Muslim belief systems. We're very excited about this trip and invite you to be praying with us as we work on details. More information will be coming on this trip.
When I think about the Philippines, I've had the privilege of getting to meet my sponsor child and actually working with him. Last year, we sent teams to respond to the disaster from the earthquake. At his school in Loon, the classrooms were totally destroyed and the kids were out in the courtyard in tents. When our team got there, Melchizedek saw that I was part of the team. And of course, when you see his delight and his smile, it just warms your heart. So he and his buddies snuck out of class and came over and worked with us one day while we were reconstructing on the schoolroom. It's a delight to see the kids grow, become strong and sturdy, and to know that what we do is helping and giving them an opportunity to change life. We have now partnered 3 different times with the Philippine people to build churches that then combine the deaf, the believers, into a solid community. This next trip that we're planning in 2015 will be trying to cooperate again between both IDEA for the deaf and the Foursquare Church. And so we will go to the towns where IDEA has schools, enjoy the kids, and then work evangelism with the churches using a feeding program, ministry time, to try to reach out to people that desperately need Jesus. We've seen Faith Chapel's work make a huge difference. I invite you to come and enjoy one of these trips together with us.
Hi, I'm Steve Petzel, and I've led mission trips all over the world. But the ministry and presentation of the good news of Jesus Christ in Tijuana has been some of the most powerful and fruitful anywhere I've been. Tijuana is not just a close, over-the-border mission field. It is strategic. So many deported people kicked out of the U.S., and so many immigrants coming from Latin America to find life in America are piled up at that border. Broken hearts and dreams exist everywhere in Tijuana, and there's no hope for the future. Our team's ministry will consist of sharing food and necessities with these deported immigrants who have lost family, friends, and the means of making a living. And we will conduct services and pray for people at AIDS hospices. We will minister at rehab center, orphanages, and with the homeless. And we'll have the opportunity to share Jesus even in Mexican jails. We feed people, worship, and lead them to find forgiveness and life at the foot of the cross. Carolyn and I have led teams to Tijuana at least 10 times, and God never fails to amaze us with His love and care for the disenfranchised and the broken people we find. We have felt safer on the streets of Tijuana, Mexico than in our own city streets. So the missionaries always take us in to safe situations, and we always have felt the protection of God and the love for His people. We work with translators, and therefore a knowledge of Spanish is not necessary. We will learn worship songs and phrases in Spanish that will help us convey the gospel of Christ. One time we were feeding the homeless in the streets of Tijuana, and we were conducting a service. People rushed the podium for prayer, and even after we prayed with many of them, we told them that we were serving a hot meal just across the street. But they wanted to skip the food and said, "We really need to hear more of the Word of God." It was amazing to us. So the hunger and thirst for Jesus and hope they find in Him is so important to the people of Mexico.
Hey everybody, my name is Megan, and I wanted to talk to you about something that means a lot to me. That something is missions. The word missions probably brings up a lot of different thoughts and emotions in each one of us. Missions might be something you have always dreamed of, or never considered, but I'm asking you to put all those thoughts aside, because Faith has many great opportunities in 2015 for you to get involved and go on a missions trip. One of those opportunities is Guatemala. We have been partnering with Food for the Hungry in Guatemala for 2 years now. I went to Guatemala last July and fell in love with the village of Antigua Xanca. I was amazed at how warm and welcoming everybody was, and I was also equally amazed with their work ethics. Our goal was to dig a hole for a water holding and distribution system. The people of Antigua-Janca came side by side with us and worked even when we were done for the day, so their community can one day have clean water. To have clean water in the community is going to help prevent waterborne illnesses and increase the quality of life. We also had many great opportunities to go on home visits and to play games with the kids in the community. Next year, we are partnering with Food for the Hungry in Guatemala once again, and this time we are taking a team of high school and college-age students. This is something I'm so excited about because of my passion to see youth rise up in Billings. I believe students will be the light for God's kingdom in their schools and communities, as well as worldwide.
I'd never been on a mission before and had so many unknowns going in. A memory that will stay with me forever was our welcome ceremony as we entered the village of Antigua-Janca, Guatemala. There was festive music playing, and the whole community, from the youngest to the eldest, lined the dirt path coming into the village, shaking our hands and hugging us. I felt so humbled and loved by complete strangers. Another high point was the joy of meeting my sponsor child, Henry. During our home visit with his family, they shared pictures, served a snack, and they joined with us in prayer. This was so special to me. It was obvious from our welcome to our departure that this community embraced us as one of them, a neighbor, coming to lend a hand, and that's what we did for the next week. We worked on phase 1 of a water project. What that means to this village is clean, running water to 175 homes for the first time. Waterborne illness is common in these communities, and the blessing of clean water would create healthier outcomes for every member of this village. In addition to bringing water to a village, as a church we sponsored 200 children through Food for the Hungry, an organization that's making a tremendous impact across the borders by developing a holistic approach to working with communities that have needs and those willing to come share that heart. The week was busy with project work, preparing the area for the water distribution tank, Vacation Bible School, and many soccer games with young children who could run faster in rubber rain boots than we could in sneakers. I was honored to be a part of that team. As 2015 approaches, prayerfully consider how God might use you to be part of this amazing partnership in Guatemala.
In 2010, I went to Ethiopia because of this. Water. Dirty water, to be exact. This muddy little puddle was one of the water sources for the children of New Hope Center, an orphanage in western Ethiopia. To change that, Billings and Beyond had a well drilled, built a water tower with 2 10,000-liter water tanks, and installed over 600 yards of water line so that the school, orphanage, as well as the local community would have this, clean water. Water is what brought me to Ethiopia, but here's what keeps bringing me back. Relationships. On 8 different trips over 4 years, I've seen the children sponsored by Faith Chapel grow. They get a home, they get healthy, they get educated, and they grow in the Lord. And even though our mission trips always involve work projects, what they really do is show the kids that 8,000 miles away, there are people who love and care about them. After all that they've lost, we show them that they are still part of a family. Mission trips are important not because of just what we do for the people, but because of what we do with them. Sure, we could send money, and that always helps. But I know from experience that what the people we visit really want is a relationship with us, not just our resources. The last thing that's important about mission trips is what we bring home. And by that, I don't mean coffee and souvenirs. On every trip, in every person, God does something in each of us to grow us more into who He wants us to be. A mission trip will stretch you, open your heart, and really show you what being the hands and feet of Jesus is all about. Will you go with us in 2015?
Hey guys, my name is Evan.
And I'm Sam.
We're here to talk to you about some amazing opportunities and experiences that we have found in Denver, Colorado.
Over the past several months, our college and high school ministries have had the chance to send 2 teams down to the Denver area to help a fellow Foursquare church, Naya Life. Naya Life is an East Indian church that is growing and challenging the Nepalese community in Denver.
Through outreach and weekly services, Pastor Jitender Singh and his family have made a major impact on the people that they have been called to shepherd. Naya Life has been a huge blessing to the surrounding area, and it's providing light in an area where darkness has been very prevalent.
We wanted to be a part of the ongoing movement that is happening through Naya Life. Because of that, it was our pleasure to help in any way that we could. Our college team was able to hold a vacation Bible school for children in the community, and our high school team provided much needed maintenance to the physical church building itself, from painting and touch-ups to full-on transformation of their chapel used for weekend services.
Our college team was also able to spend time with the downtown Denver ministry called Street Reach. This ministry provides thousands of meals for homeless in Denver every month. From washing dishes to preparing the food itself, our volunteers spent all day serving those very much in need.
Our teams were able to experience something very new and different, only 8 hours away. Oftentimes we feel like our only option for being on the mission field is across an ocean or border. However, we quickly learned that distance does not qualify need, and that we are able to help right where we are at.
So whether it's here in Billings, a car ride away, or across the ocean, never forget that if you are willing, you are able. Please consider joining us in Denver or one of our other serving areas.
And let's be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Did you know that today 22,000 kids are going to die due to poverty? There's a lot of ways that we can help. When we hear statistics like that, I know it breaks my heart and I want to do something. Greg and I had the opportunity to travel to Dominican Republic, and while we were there, we got to see hope in action. And it wasn't just hope in the form of microloans, but the hope that Jesus brought to these people. Teresa was an amazing story. She was a woman that's about 50 years old. She received her first microloan maybe 13 years ago.
Yep.
And at that time, she was just starting a very small business. Her first loan was only $50, but that grew into a business where now she's a seamstress in her own shop. But while she was going through these loans, she also came down with breast cancer. And in a third world country, that is almost a death sentence. But for Teresa, with the community support, people rallying around her, praying for her, she was able to fight breast cancer, get some medical help. When she wasn't maybe able to pay her loan back, people in the community stepped up and they paid her loans back for her when she was too sick to. And now she's back in her thriving business, and people all around for generations to come are watching her and the impact that she's had in her community.
They were lifting themselves out of poverty, and it brought dignity to them. And all it takes sometimes is a $50 or a $100 microloan in communities where there is absolutely no banking available at all.
Hope International is a Christ-centered microfinance organization that goes into 17 of the most impoverished countries in the world and offers little loans. Not only does Hope hand out microloans, they also take such a holistic approach to poverty. They hit the spiritual needs by bringing the message of Jesus Christ to every single person that they hand loans out to.
Because Hope is attacking poverty at both a physical level and a spiritual level, they are seeing a healing happen in people and dignity be restored to them.
Hope's mission and their statement is that you are capable, and we really believe that every person has been created in God's image and has gifts and abilities that He's designed them to do, and all that they need is a little access to capital so that they can take those gifts and actually do what they were created to do. And there's something that we can do. The first one is that you can fund a microloan from your computer all the way to 17 countries, and that would just be little loans like $50 to $100 that can impact and empower people to start their own businesses and use the gifts that God has given them.
You can pray for people. You can pray for the country that we're sponsoring.
I know for Greg and I, it was really impactful for us to take a trip and see what microfinance looks like in person. So there are going to be opportunities that you can come on different trips and see what that looks like.
So we'd like to invite you to participate in any of these three ways. From your computer, from the pew, or take a trip with us. We'd like to show you what Hope's all about.